Okay. Hello, everybody. Excellent. So I asked some of the Vendastians to go get laptops. I see 3. Not all of them listen to me. Oh, there they go. Now they go scurrying. Okay. Welcome to something new for the Saskatoon Testing Discussion Group. Today we are going to do a workshop instead of a straight-up discussion. The topic that was selected, I got to remember to stay on camera. The topic that was selected for our first workshop in over 4 years of this group being in existence is session-based testing, which is part of the session-based test management flow. We elected to concentrate on the testing side as opposed to the management side. A lot of the management side is implied during this workshop as opposed to explicitly talked about, but you'll kind of see those spots as they creep up. Now, you will need a laptop for today's workshop. You don't necessarily need it yourself. You need to be sitting with somebody who is. So if you're at a table with a laptop and there's more than one laptop, if you could move to another table. I'm hoping for 2 people per laptop if we have that many laptops. Kirby, there's a nice young woman down here in the front. Her name is Steph. I'm sure she would love to pair with you. Okay. So we have all the Vecima people crowding around. Ben, Elia is free in the back yet. Leonard, do you have a partner yet?
I do not.
So Leonard's free in the front. I believe Jason Prokop and Emily are both available as well. There we go. Oh, Anna and Manish are going to work together. This looks pretty good. You don't need a partner for this workshop. We're partnering up more because I forgot to tell you guys to bring laptops. My bad. Okay, so everybody's got a screen, either their screen or somebody that they're working with screen. Excellent. So what is session-based testing? As I said, it's part of the session-based test management flow, which was developed to deal with the idea that exploratory testing is primarily discovery-based as opposed to a priori knowledge of the system exploration-based. And thus, you can't say, go run these 10 scripts and tell me what the results are, because that's not exploratory testing. And so how does one report the results of exploratory testing? Twofold. One, how do we report it to our clients so that they know what we covered, what we didn't cover, what we found? And secondly, how do we interact in our mentorship model, either with a test manager or a test mentor, depending on your organization, in such a way that you can get better through iterations on concrete activities that you did. You can always pair constantly, but that's not always available, right? So the idea is that testing is done as a series of rounds. Each round is an undisturbed time box. If you take a look at James Bach, the original author for this concept, he talks about when he was working on it, they were doing 90-minute to 2-hour uninterrupted time boxes, turning off the email alerts, etc. Just concentrated testing for 90 minutes to an hour and 20. A portion of that at the end reserved for writing up a report about that session. Doing 2 or 3 sessions a day, and then once a day meeting with their mentor manager to go over the reports to figure out where to go next, how to improve their testing, what to report to the client. Hopefully that makes sense. So how are we going to break this down into a workshop that we can all do? Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't have 3 times 90 minutes to run a workshop with you guys today, nor do I have a problem for you to test that would take that long. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with the classic triangle problem. You can find it here at practice.agilistry.com/triangle. You've probably never seen this problem before. That's not uncommon at work, right? We're asked to test a feature or a bug fix that somebody has come up with and they haven't pre-warned us, so that we haven't had time to go off and look at it. We're going to take 5 minutes or less. It's a pretty simple problem, just to take a tour so we can understand the concept of what's in here. And in your pair, during your tour, you need to identify 2 or more areas for which you think you don't have enough information about either the positive or negative function of this application, and thus you need to do testing to get that information. 5 minutes. Okay, that's most of the time. You've got about 60 seconds left, so if you haven't started identifying areas for which you need more information about the positive or negative function of this application, you should stop touring and start identifying your areas. Okay, stop. Kirby asked me, remember to get back on camera. Kirby asked me an excellent question. He said, when I mean more information, do I mean more testing? Well, yes, but I mean, But when I mean testing, I might not mean what you mean by testing. To me, testing is any activity for which I gain further information about the positive and negative function of an application. I.e., is there something about the application I don't know? Yes. Is there some activity I can do to find out that information? Yes. That to me is testing. Yeah, we're generally looking for areas where we're going to go and interrogate the application to find out some idiosyncrasy of its function, or some general information about a class of interactions with the application. Good answer?
Yeah, well, I was just looking at that and thinking, so about the function of the application. From being a programmer with interactive applications, I started breaking it down into like the UI and what are the buttons and how it flows. I wasn't sure if that was what you were asking for, because that's so fuzzy.
So Kirby points out that what I wrote is very fuzzy. Well, it was intentionally fuzzy to keep it as broad as possible. Kirby, coming from a programming background, was thinking about breaking the UI elements into testing the various discrete UI elements as opposed to testing user flows. And that's great because he's currently paired with Steph, who doesn't come from a programming background and thus will be thinking more along flows and use cases. So they're going to be a great pair, I think. Okay, so second stage. Now you have your areas for which you think you do not have enough information. We're used to this. We have an application, it needs testing. We're going to pick one of our areas, preferably the one that has the highest probability of being important to our customer, i.e., let's find the important bugs first. Let's get the important information first. You're going to have a 10-minute time box to explore this area. Don't worry about writing your report. We're going to do that as a separate step in the workshop. But you now have a 10 minutes to explore your area as completely as possible. So if your area only takes you 2 minutes to explore, you've got 8 more minutes to explore it. Get inventive. Bounce ideas off your partner. If you spend 8 minutes, that's probably good enough. Time boxes are not rigid in that if you can't fill them, you have to keep working. But if you significantly underfill them, you should probably keep working, trying to strive for breadth. Try not to go over them. Okay? So you have a 10-minute time box to test one of the areas. Everyone got at least 2 areas to test, right? You're only picking one of them. 10 minutes. Go. Okay, according to my time timer, we've got about 2 minutes left in your testing session. We will have time to do some documentation on this test session, so don't worry about your documentation yet. Okay, time's up. So, in a bigger project, we've now finished our first 90 to 120 minute testing session, or we've come right near the end. And now we've wound down our reporting, and now we're going to think about what we did. I will I'll put a link in the meetup event for this, and the YouTube video, to a really good report format that James Bach developed to go along with this. And it's a pretty simple format. It's really pretty quick and easy to fill out because you don't want to spend a huge amount of time on the reporting, because the testing and the information gathering is the more important activity. But your report should have a few items in it. What was your area? What was the charter for your testing session? So if you're doing exploratory testing, which is sort of implied by doing session-based testing, you had a charter. What was it you were going to explore? What piece of information were you trying to expand upon about the positive and negative function of your application? Report starts with the charter, and then a description of what things you tried to do to get more information about that. Short, 3-4 sentences, not paragraphs, about what you tried to do. We tried to do this series of things, we tried to do that series of things, and then what did you find? Again, short, what did you find? If you filed any bugs, there's a section for bugs. And then the final section is, from this investigation, these are the new areas that I need to explore. And that is the important bit about all of this, is the important bit about all of this is that new area. We started out with 2+ areas that needed to be explored. We picked the highest priority one. Now we've done some exploring. Your areas to explore is not a FIFO queue. It's a priority queue. So if while exploring during a session you find something that you need to know about that's more important than anything else that's already on your list of areas to explore, that gets to become your next session. Now, this is also important that we put on these reports what those areas are and what we think their relative importance is, so that when we go to have that meeting with our mentor, or our manager, we can talk about this and we can grow and learn because I thought this was really important, so I did it as my next session. And the test manager could say, well, that affects 0.5% of our customers, and the charter you had on your schedule to do next, which is now not going to be done till tomorrow, affects 90% of our customers. I really wish you hadn't changed the order of those. We'll learn for next time. So those conversations become really important, but we need to document our charters and what order we're doing them in and why we thought they were more important in order to have those great discussions. So we're going to take 3 minutes. I don't care if you type it up on the computer or write it down in a notebook. Write up a mini version of your session report for the session you just did. What was your charter? How did you explore it? What did you find? You can, if you found bugs, fake out a bug reporting system number. I really don't care. This is a workshop. We're not going to get caught up in those little details. We're worried more about the mechanics. And of course, that really important section at the bottom, further areas of to explore, and why or why not they go at the top or the bottom of your priority queue. 3 minutes, and I'll actually set the timer this time. If I lean into the timer while it beeps, it goes out over the speakers. Not a great solution. Okay. 3 minutes wasn't a lot of time, but you were summarizing a 10-minute session. Hopefully, you all have your reports done. Now, we have 8 groups out there. We have 6 groups of 2 and 2 groups of 1 out there. We're going to simulate the mentor-manager meeting. Now, the mentor-manager meeting happens at some point after X sessions. And the reason I say X is it really is a variable. If Ben and I were working together, or Kirby and I were working together, we might get together every other day, 5, 6 sessions. What did you learn? If I'm working with a new hire who has up until today has only ever paired with people on testing, I'm going to meet with them every session because the mentorship expectation is higher. They need more guidance. They need more leadership. They've got higher learning curves to hit. So how often you would have these meetings with your mentor manager really depends on your comfort level with what you're testing and their comfort level with what you're testing. Either of you's uncomfortable, you're going to meet more often. Both of you are super comfortable, you're going to meet less often. Hopefully that makes sense. So I don't want to mix you guys up. I want you guys to mix up. If you want to combine 2 pairs to share, or if your pairs want to split to share, that's up to you. I'm not going to put a lot of controls on it, but I do want you guys to mix up and share what you found. Share your report as if you're presenting it to your mentor manager. This is the charter that I chose to follow. You might have a discussion there about why that charter was important. Why was it at the top of your priority list? Other than you told me to put it at the top of my priority list. And talk about how you explored it. Hopefully you'll get some feedback from the person you're meeting with about other things that could have been done to explore that. Hopefully none of us are perfect and it's, wow, you did a perfect job of exploring that charter. So 5 minutes to share. So you have about 2.5 minutes per side to share your test report, especially concentrating. Make sure you spend some time on that last bit of where should I explore next. Okay? I'll set the timer for 5 minutes. Okay, let's pause our sharing. Um, so we're gonna take a pause in our sharing now, and we'll sort of say this is the end of our simulation. We've done one cycle all the way up to the reporting meeting, and we know that in the real world we might have done multiple sessions before the reporting meeting, and that after this reporting meeting there might be more sessions. Determining whether or not there's more sessions, of course, depends on three things: budget, time, and completeness. And we all know we never stop testing because of completeness. Nothing's ever finished testing, right? So once we get to that point where we've hit, and I'm popping the mic, sorry. Once we get to that point where we've tested everything that is of high enough priority that we're of reasonable assurance that we've met our goals for testing. Now, who sets those goals depends on your shop. If you work for Ben, he probably sets those. If you work for me, you probably set those yourself. But this is a place where we can use exploratory testing in everything from a waterfall shop where we have lots of a priori knowledge, and we've identified an area where we don't have enough a priori knowledge to create good test cases. We can go to something like session-based test management as both a mentoring tool as a reporting tool for our explorations. Just quickly, each group, what was your charter? Let's start with Kirby's group. Yeah, so you were exploring what inputs could be put into that input box. Excellent. Boomy? Okay, so you were exploring whether or not it can recognize all of the named types of triangles. Excellent. Leonard.
Ours was to determine the number of possible category outputs.
Okay, so same as Boomy's. Yeah. Exactly. Emily? Okay. Jason Prokop? Oh, what the coordinates represented? Elia, were you separate from Jason Prokop? Yeah. Valid text inputs. So exploring things like UTF, etc. Okay. And then we had one group of three with Manish. Okay, invalidated types. Okay. Excellent. Did anybody identify the graphical display area to see if that was something they could get to fail on valid triangle types, either as a possible charter or as a future charter? Okay.
We found one bug in the display area where it didn't matter which side, if side 3 was the greatest in scaling, it actually shifted off the screen and ended up with a negative.
Oh, interesting. If side 3 is the largest side of a scaling, there was actually a rendering bug in that case. Interesting.
Like it would work like 9, 10, 11, and all of a sudden it'd go off.
Interesting.
But side 2 and side 1 did not have that problem.
Cool. Yeah.
We found that the input instructions are misleading.
The input instructions are misleading. So do note that the site that we are testing is designed specifically for doing workshops like this or testing katas, etc. It's a sample problem that is mostly right and has a few known wonkinesses with it so that we can explore to find them, so we can practice our exploratory testing. Excellent. Thank you very much for attending the first workshop of the Saskatoon Testing Discussion Group. Our next meeting is in April, of course, third Wednesday in April. The topic has already been selected, but I've forgotten what it is. I have to look it up, unless one of the committee members remembers. I think Kirby's up next. Were you?
Wasn't necessarily volunteer, but that's, I know waterfall's coming up.
I Yes, I believe next month is testing in the waterfall environment. Um, I test mostly in the agile environment, so most of our talks have been agile orientated for the past 2 years. So we're going to get yet another different speaker up here to lead a discussion about testing in the waterfall environment. I'll see you next month. Thank you very much.